Financial anxiety is very common nowadays. We have a hard time going to bed, falling asleep. We have a hard time focusing on what is important throughout the day. It is because we don't know what is happening with our finances. So one of the mistakes that we do is not to look at them, right? So having the time to review what is going on in our finances. If you ever have felt that way, I would like for you to stay with me because we're going to talk about few tips that are going to help you to gain that confidence with your finances. Welcome to Marcia's Corner. This is the place where we talk about practical things that can help you to better your finances, have a better life. So the first thing that I do when I feel anxious about my finances, I make the time and I sit down and I review what is going on with my budget, what is going on my checking account, what is happening with my savings account, is increasing or decreasing, right? So this is what we need to do. Years ago, I used to be very, very anxious thinking about my finances. I used to live paycheck by paycheck and not really knowing what was happening the next paycheck. And probably we relate to this. But what I did is I really had to face that reality that me avoiding not seeing my checking account, the problem was not going away. The problem was there. I was really trying to avoid something that I needed to face. And that was looking into my finances, how I was spending my money. So the first thing that I highly recommend you to do is just avoid not having a moment with your finances and face them. Face them and see what is going on there. Think about how much money you make. Think about how much money you are spending. Right? That needs to make sense. So taking a seat and facing those finances is one of the first tips I recommend you. Remember, avoiding not to do that is going to pile up your stress, is going to pile up your anxiety, and it's not going to go away. It's going to get worse. So that will be tip number 1. Tip number 2, make a list of everything you are spending. And one of the ways that you can do this is by looking to your statements from the previous months. See if you have a trend. Think about everything that you are spending. Right? That includes the rent, includes your phone, any other expenses that you have. Just make a list from the smallest to the largest and see if there is a pattern. Look like at least 3 months in the past, right? So right now we are in June. So I will recommend you to look back to perhaps March, April, and May. See if there is any pattern and write it down from the smallest to the largest. That will be tip number 2. When you think about tip number 3, it's about creating a budget. Now that you know exactly what are your money is going and what are you spending on, create a budget. And make sure that when you think about your budget, think about the things that you need and the things that you want. Things that you need are the basic things that you need to live, like your rent, how much money you pay in food, clothing. Those are the things that you need. Each one of us have different needs. So I will recommend you to just make a list of the things that you need to live. The ones will be extra things like Netflix, HBO, little things that are just complementing us to make us happy. But at this point, if you are feeling anxious, I will highly recommend you to stick with the needs because that is what is going to help you to live, right? Throughout the days until you figure out what is best for you. So that will be tip number 3. Tip number 4 is do this periodically. I will highly recommend you at the beginning until you get into the habit of checking on your finances. Weekly, go back to your checking account and see how is your budget. Are you spending on the things that you commit? Is that matching is balancing your checking account? So do this weekly, and then when you get into the habit of spending things that you need, that they're necessary, you will go and start working on your checking your finances on a monthly basis. That will be tip number 4. And tip number 5 is get to know your credit score. It's extremely important nowadays to get to know our credit scores. Why? Because if you want a better job, they're going to check your credit score. If you want to get a place that is nice, like a better place where to live, they're going to check your credit score. So we really need to understand where are we standing in terms of our credit score. If you do these few tips, there is more than this, but I would like for you to stick to these 5 tips. It will help you to have a better outcome with dealing with your financial stuff, with dealing with your budget, with dealing in how your money is being spent. Because now you are going to understand where your money is going. The reason why we are anxious and we don't know what to do is because we don't know where the money is going. But these few steps are going to help you to really have confidence in how you manage your money. So thank you so much for listening. And if you want to share with us, what is that you're going to work on today? Either you're going to make an appointment with yourself to sit down and review your finances, or maybe you're going to start looking more into your checking account in a weekly basis to see where the money is going, or maybe you need to create a budget, right? Maybe you need to do that. So share with us what is that you're going to start working on today to decrease the financial anxiety that you perhaps have right now. Thank you so much for listening and have a wonderful time. Take care.